At that time there came a great dearth in Greenland. Those who had been out on fishing expeditions had caught little, and some had not returned. There was in the settlement the woman whose name was Thorbjorg. She was a prophetess, or spae-queen, and was called Little Sibyl. She had 9 sisters, and they were all spae-queens, and but she was the only one now living. It was a custom of Thorbjorg, in the winter time, to make a circuit, and people invited her to their houses, especially those who had any curiosity about the season or desired to know their fate. And inasmuch as Thorkel was chief franklin thereabouts, he considered that it concerned him to know when the scarcity which overhung the settlement would cease. He invited, therefore, the spae-queen into his house, and prepared for her a hearty welcome, as was the custom wherever a reception was accorded a woman of this kind. A high seat was prepared for her, and a cushion laid thereon, in which were poultry feathers. Now, when she came in the evening, accompanied by the man who had been sent to meet her, she was dressed in such wise that she had a blue mantle over her, with strings for the neck, and it was inlaid with gems, quite down to the skirt. On her neck she had glass beads. On her head she had a black hood of lambskin, lined with ermine. A staff she had in her hand, with a knob thereon. It was ornamented with brass, and inlaid with gems round about the knob. Around her she wore a girdle of soft hair, and therein was a large skin bag, in which she kept talismans needful to her in her wisdom. She wore hairy calfskin shoes on her feet, with long and strong-looking thongs on them, and great knobs of latten at the end. On her hands she had gloves of ermine skin, and they were white and hairy within. Now, when she entered, all men thought of their great bounden duty to offer her becoming greetings, and these she received according as the men were agreeable to her. The franklin Thorkel took the wise woman by the hand, and led her to the seat prepared for her. He requested her to cast her eyes over his head, his household, and his homestead. She remained silent altogether. During the evening the tables were set, and now I must tell you what food was made ready for the spae-queen. There was prepared for her porridge of kid's milk. The hearts of all kinds of living creatures there found were cooked for her. She had a brazen spoon and a knife with a handle of walrus tusk, which was mounted with 2 rings of brass, and the point of it was broken off. When the tables were removed, the franklin Thorkel advanced to Thorbjorg, and asked her how she liked his homestead, or the appearance of the men, or how soon she would ascertain that which he had asked, and which the men desired to know. She replied that she would not give answer before the morning, after she had slept there for the night. And when the next day was far spent, the preparations were made for her which she required for the exercise of her enchantments. She begged them to bring her those women who were acquainted with the lore needed for the exercise of the enchantments, and which is known by the name of weird song. But no such women came forward. Then was search made throughout the homestead if any women were so learned. Then answered Gudrid, I am not skilled in deep learning, nor am I a wise woman, although Haldis, my foster mother, taught me in Iceland the lore which she called weird songs. Then art thou wise in good season, answered Thorbjorg. But Gudrid replied, that lore and the ceremony are of such kind that I propose to be of no assistance therein, because I am a Christian woman. Then answered Thorbjorg, thou mightest perchance afford thy help to the men in this company, and yet be none the worse woman than thou wast before. But to Thorkel I give charge to provide here the things that are needful. Thorkel thereupon urged Gudrid to consent, and she yielded to his wishes. The women formed a ring about, and Thorbjorg ascended the scaffold, and the seat prepared for her enchantments. Then sang Gudrid the weird song, in a beautiful and excellent manner, that to no one there did it seem that he had ever before heard the song in a voice so beautiful as now. The Spey Queen thanked her for the song. Many spirits, said she, have been present under its charm, and were pleased to listen to the song, who before would turn away from us, and grant us no such homage. And now are many things clear to me, which before were hidden both from me and others. And I am able to say this, that the dearth will last no longer, the season improving as spring advances. The epidemic of fever, which has long oppressed us, will quickly disappear, will disappear quicker than we could have hoped. And thee, Gudrid, will I recompense straightway, for that aid of thine, which has stood us in good stead. Because thy destiny is now clear to me, and foreseen. Thou shalt make a match here in Greenland, a most honorable one, though it will not be a long-lived one for thee, because thy way lies out to Iceland, and there shall arise from thee a line of descendants both numerous and goodly, and over the branches of thy family shall shine a bright ray, and so fare thee now well and happily, my daughter. Afterwards the men went to the wise woman, and each inquired after what he was most curious to know. She was also liberal in her replies, and what she said proved true. After this came one from another homestead after her, and then she went there. Thorbjorn was invited because he did not wish to remain at home while such heathen worship was performing. The weather soon improved, when once spring began, and as Thorbjorg had said, Thorbjorg made ready his ship, and went on until he came to Brattahlid, the steep slope. Erik received him with the utmost cordiality, saying that he had done well to come there. Thorbjorn and his family were with him during the winter, and in the following spring Erik gave to Thorbjorn the land of Stoknes, and handsome farm buildings were there built for him, and he dwelt there afterwards. And that is the end of part 3 of the saga and part 2 of this video series.